can you just, talk a little bit about the character issues, the traumas and issues that both Sam and Bucky are going to be dealing with throughout this show, and how it felt to be able to give both Sebastian and Anthony a lot more meat than they're used to working with in the films before this.
Well, what's great about having 6 hours is that you get to spend a lot more time with the characters. So, by definition, you're able to get more intimate with them and find out where they live, how they're feeling, what they're doing. In the movies, which I call the snack, this is the meal. You're so you're kind of driven by the fact that they're in some form saving the world. And it's really hard to take time out from that to explore character because the stakes are so high in the moment. But this you're allowed to because you just have more time. So while you're percolating on one level, you can take the time to get intimate with the characters. And what was great, they've been living in these characters for a number of years, so they knew them, but they'd never really gone for a deep dive. Yeah. So both actors, both Anthony and Sebastian, really dove in and loved exploring. So we did a lot of ad lib and a lot of improv and a lot of script work, where rehearsals and such, so that we really could explore the characters to the fullest that we felt we could. And Sam he starts the whole series. He's been given the shield at the end of Endgame.
Yep.
And now it's a real exploration of what is he going to do with that? Is he going to take it on? What is it for a Black man to take on the shield? Does he want what that is? What is the shield? What does it represent? And all these questions are percolating around, and he has to go on a big exploration of, what the sort of classic hero image is of a Captain America, and is that relevant anymore? And so we don't know what he's going to decide. Bucky the same. Bucky also has opinions of the shield. I think everybody has an opinion of the shield that's different. What it means to me, it would be something different to what it means to my neighbor. But Bucky is coming out of having been, leading a life of being brainwashed and doing some heinous things. He's going to have to deal with the guilt of that. He's going to have to come to terms with the violence that he has perpetrated. There's victims. When you have violence, there's victims, which, entertainment tends not to explore that so much. So we really go down a very intimate road with him that has to do with mental health and PTSD and some of the hard topics. So although we do it with fun and ironic humor, and we certainly enjoy their relationship, we definitely are not shying from some very deep topics and issue-oriented subjects.
And now, we do have to talk about some of these big set pieces as well, though, because the series starts off with, I think, some of the most exciting Falcon moments we've seen yet. So just for you, how fun is it to be in a TV space, but still have this cinematic movie kind of, I would assume, budget as well, but just to do these big fight scenes, to be able to maybe show some new tricks for these characters that we haven't seen yet.
Well, that was the goal. When I particularly started, we called it the hot potato sequence. From the beginning, I was like, we are going to show Falcon in a way that he's never seen, and I looked at all of his work and it was so good, right? Yeah. I thought, how are we ever going to, do better if that's possible? But I think it wasn't so much better, it was different. And what I was able to do was I looked at a lot of extreme sports videos, throughout the web, and really looked at what the equipment was they were using, because the aesthetic has changed. We've now, because cameras are light and we can, GoPro it and we can do all of that. We are able to experience an event like that where someone's flying. The goal was I wanted to be flying with them. I wanted us to feel like we were right there with them and experiencing it like you do on an extreme sports video, where you feel like, wow, this is what this guy is really seeing. It's what he's really doing. There's a camera on his helmet or on his, So we slapped cameras all over the guys as they jumped out planes, and so what you see is what we managed to get.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
Oh, terrific.
And when you're joining or going into the MCU, I'm curious what it's like to try and figure out which characters you do and don't have access to. How do you end up on Sharon and Zemo? What are those conversations like to figure out which characters you can play with?
It's very organic, really.
Yeah.
You go into the story, and it's what does the story need, and one of the things that's really terrific about the comics is they are like a deep Wikipedia resource, but we don't duplicate them.
Yeah.
So the storylines are unique to the comics, and the storylines to the drama, to these shows, and even the movies are unique to themselves. So the characters are able to evolve, and the storylines are able to evolve. So we really get to be, true to the story that we're telling, versus having to tell a story that we're not duplicating anything.
And I'm curious, when WandaVision was on, if you were following along with, all the fan theories, cameos, just how that kind of set some unrealistic or high expectations for how the show would end. I mean, then that's nothing against the show. I loved it. I will be rewatching it completely. But these fan theories kind of set up these unrealistic ideas. Is that something that now you're thinking of, having seen what happened with that show?
What I love is that the fans are so engaged that they go for it. So
Yeah.
I have no way to predict what they'll do with our story, but I do love that they speculate. And what's really great is, of course, which is kind of, we love having shows, all at once. But we also are going to love the fact that we're stringing these out now over, each week.
Yeah.
So there is lots of time to speculate in between. Because of course our story takes some really big twists and turns. So I'm sure I hope the fans will feel compelled to be just as engaged.
I was gonna say, do you want to drop any totally crazy outlandish quote that people can speculate over for the next couple weeks?
Not a chance.
Smart. And now, we saw WandaVision, how it set the stage for the next Doctor Strange movie. What, I guess, going forward, will this show kind of set up for the next chapter of the MCU? Can you kind of talk generally, I guess, about, what those conversations are like, about where you had to get to go forward?
You know what? I honestly don't know. If I knew, I probably wouldn't tell you anyway, but I honestly don't. So
that's understandable.
Yeah, what is great is we are telling a story that we don't tie up in a neat bow, of course.
Yeah.
And hopefully we've opened doors to not only speculate, but also to be thoughtfully pondering because of some of these really, important themes that we are embedding in the show. So let's hope that there's lots of doors that we open.
And lastly, I just wanted to ask about Sharon. How has she changed since the last time we saw her? I know fans are happy to see her back in the fold, since we don't know where she's been since Civil War.
Well, she's been on the run. That much we do know.
Yeah.
And Emily is amazing, and she works so hard at her stunt sequences. And I can say that she's just a wonderful character to work with, person to work with, and character to evolve. And she's got some really great moments in the show.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully we'll chat again as the series goes on.
Cheers. Good luck.
Have a good one.